Okay, so in chapter 1, we talked about what motor development is and kind of introduced the topic of the class. And remember in chapter 1, we talked about Bloom's domains of motor development. And in Bloom's domains, one is motor development. And so we really talk about psychomotor as a domain, and we separate that out from physical, which is just mostly like growth and maturation. So psychomotor is really talking about movement. And when we say psychomotor, we're referring to movement that requires it's voluntary movement, right? So we're sending a signal from our brain that says we want to move, we cause the movement. So that doesn't include reflexes. So a lot of times in your book, you'll see they don't necessarily use the term psychomotor because it is specific to higher brain. And when we're looking at motor development, we're looking at the whole spectrum. So we want to look at not only voluntary movement, but also reflexes, which are involuntary movement. And so when we're talking about the different domains of human development, we want to not only study motor development, we want to study the integration of all of those domains. And so this chapter is going to focus on cognitive. And so when we think about that, we want to think about just exactly like that. We want to think about thinking. Okay, so thinking skills, mental skills, strategy, adaptation, all of those things play into your motor performance. And so an example of this is a study 2000 and 2008 that showed a really high correlation between gross motor performance ability, so their ability to do different ball skills, locomotor skills, was really highly related to also their working memory ability. And working memory you can think about as how fast you can remember somebody's Twitter handle while you're searching for it. IQ is obviously a measure of intelligence, and then information processing speed is your reaction time. So example of that in motor performance is think about how fast are you off the line when the light turns green when you're driving, and how fast can you hit the brakes when you see some of these brake lights in front of you. And so a lot of times what we want to do is separate all the different domains, but we actually see that they interact a lot. And so that's kind of where we're going to focus in this chapter. Is how does your development of cognitive skills impact your development of motor skills? How does your development of motor skills impact your development of cognitive skills? And so both of them are related to each other. So if you think about your elite athletes, remember we talked about the mountain of motor development. The biggest difference between the skillful phase and the phases before it is that they're able to improvise, their ability to predict, make predictions. They're able to, the movement is automated, it's easily adapted. And so all of those things really involve cognitive skills. And so that's where you're going to see that difference between that guy that makes it to the pros and the guy that was just a high school star.